Okay, there we are. We're live, and we got Dai Manuel here and Greg Todd. So Dai's our guest for the night. Um, he's all around awesome guy. That's all I got to say right now. But, you know, CrossFit coach, motivational speaker, author, and what do you say? You're just an awesome guy, right?
I like to think I'm a life enhancer, if anything, you know. But yeah, we'll stick with that. As long as my kids think I'm awesome, that's all that matters.
So I don't know if I think I told Greg that I interviewed Dai on my podcast a while ago, and Dai's messaged me a couple of times. We've kept in touch a little bit, and so I invited him here. He's got this book coming out, and so I'm very interested in the. What's that?
Are we going to hear about the book? Because that's what I want to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So I guess God, just kind of give us a background on. I know you grew up as an obese teenager. You fought obesity when you were young, and how you got into fitness, and what you do right now in the fitness world.
Well, it's been I'll give you the abbreviated story, obviously, because I don't think we have hours on end. But
not that.
For those that are tuned in, basically my background, I don't come from fitness. I don't come from sports. I didn't grow up in a family that was very sporty or into sports, period. And at the age of 9, I went through some personal stuff. My parents separated and then divorced shortly after. And during that period of time, at 9 years old, like, what do you do, right? Like it was not to date myself, but that was 30 years ago. Okay, so 30 years ago, going through that, and divorce wasn't as common back then as it is now. But I was one of a couple kids that had parents going through this situation, and I started to console myself with food. It was something that I could control, so I started to eat, not necessarily eat the best things for me, healthy foods. It would tend to be a lot of sugars, and I played a lot of video games. So I had a sedentary lifestyle, and I was eating too much. So put 2 and 2 together. 5 years later, I had a BMI of over 40. I was clinically diagnosed as morbidly obese. And again, dating myself, this is 25 years ago, I was at my largest. And childhood and obesity were two words that would rarely show up in the same sentence. It was an oxymoron. It just wasn't like it is today. It wasn't a regular thing that you could type into Google and you find an article every day getting posted on childhood obesity and the issues that we're dealing with. But I went through that, and at 15 I made some lifestyle changes. And from there, I really committed my life to helping others do the same thing, because going through that process of transformation, it attracted a lot of people to what I was doing, to the fact that here's this kid that went from morbidly obese to now being someone that's very fit and active and outgoing and really a full 180. And so I had friends of my parents, my own friends in school, friends of my brothers who were a few grades younger. It was just amazing. And I enjoyed helping others go through something similar. And everyone's different, right? You have to recognize that everyone's got a different path. But if I was able to help facilitate maybe that first step on that new path, I felt very, very satisfied. And ever since then, I've committed my life to helping others doing the same. And I've done that in a number of different facets. Fast forward to today, the last almost 20 years, I've been owner-operator of a chain of retail stores in Western Canada. I partnered up with a gentleman that had an existing company, and for 11 years, I was the chief operating officer. And as of July this year, I left my career of 18 years to pursue some other things, and that's sort of why we're talking right now. It's just one of the avenues. But I wrote a book, and which is encompassed a little bit of my story, but also a philosophy that I call the Whole Life Fitness Manifesto, and it's something that I teach to others, and I help people leverage 30 minutes a day to improve their body, mind, and spirit. And it's a lifestyle program. It's not a fitness program. It's not a lose weight quick. It's nothing along the typical lines that we're used to now. But it's a very functional, applicable, and scalable program for even the busiest of people to accommodate into their everyday lifestyle so they can get results.
And how it seems to me like you do a lot of the motivational stuff and the inspirational stuff. Do you still actually do personal training, or have you really focused on getting people out there and getting them active and motivating them to, change your lifestyle and get fit?
Yeah, I still coach, but I volunteer coach. Like I don't coach for money. I've done some events, obviously. I've worked some conferences and some big corporate events where I've coached larger groups. But that's different. I still coach CrossFit one night a week. I have one personal training client still. They're really good friends of mine, so it's why I still continue to do that. But I don't personal train as a form of income any longer. And just because I've got lots of other avenues and other passions, and I just found that direct exchange of hours for dollars wasn't satisfying me. And I think a lot of trainers struggle with that because we love training people, but at the end of the day, we cap out very quickly. And what do you do with everybody else, right? Like, how can you impact other people's lives? Or are you only going to do the say maybe you got 20 clients and you're billing 35 hours a week. That's a real busy client load, But still, it's only 20, 25 people that you're working with a week, and they might be booking you ongoing week after week. And I want to help more than that.
Yeah.
So I had reached a point where I just could not be a full-time trainer anymore. It pulled me away from what I wanted to do from a passion standpoint.
Yeah. Obviously, this is the way to go if you really want to touch as many people's lives as possible, and that's the goal. That's all of our goals.
That's great.
How did you come up with the idea for this book in general?
Well, 5 years ago, I started volunteering every Sunday morning. I would run what's called a Sunday Fun Day. And sorry, guys, I don't know whose speaker it is that's on the background there, but I can hear somebody's computer. So I keep hearing myself reverberate, echoing. I don't know whose it is, but I mean, if it doesn't bother you guys, it's all good, but I'm just wondering.
I don't even hear it. I'm going to plug mine in and see if that's it.
All right. Anyways, so I started volunteering 5 years ago doing functional fitness classes every Sunday morning. And it grew very quickly through word of mouth. There was a private group that people would have to join. And it's been great because it allowed people an avenue where they didn't have to pay any money. They got to join a group of like-minded people that were also looking to make some lifestyle changes. But also on top of that, it educated them on how to use the body as a piece of equipment. And we've run these now for 5 years. Well, it'll be 5 years in February. And they're free for people to come and join us. And we'd have some days we'd have 3 classes running of 20 people per class. And then there's some days where we do 1 class and there's 30 people there. So we had this great community of people that we were able to help. And it was great because there was no more excuses, right? I mean, you guys know this. You're in the fitness industry, and there's excusitis is a very real disease, and a lot of people suffer from it. And what's an excuse? Well, it's just a bad habit in a disguise. And once you own up to that, and you acknowledge it's my personal choice if I want to work out or if I don't want to work out, I want to move my body or eat healthy, whatever. It's a choice. It's a personal choice. And either you own the decision that you're not going to do it, or you're going to own the decision that, yes, I'm going to do it. And either way, it's okay. It's your decision. More power to you. But this Sunday Fun Day group really taught me a lot as far as group fitness and community and culture and the importance of that has for lifelong fitness changes and lifestyle changes. You need positive reinforcement, but you also need a community of like-minded individuals to plug into. Because it was from there that we saw new habits forming and this new nurturing community of people supporting one another. And they started doing things outside of it. Even though we met every Sunday morning, we had this commitment to meet each other and work out together and celebrate one another, but people wanted more, right? So call it a gateway free Sunday morning workout, but it turned into something so much more. And these people now are great friends. They connect outside of Sunday Fun Days. They go for hikes. They play pickup sports. They go to the gym, whatever. But there's that same positive wavelength everybody's on. And that taught me a lot. And it became sort of that nucleus for my program, which is a lot of common things I've already talked about on my blog since 2007. But now to take that and formalize it into a full program, as well as a narrative which offered a lot of support and science and data and to the why this is important for people. Because I think that's what a lot of us don't quite get. And I know even as a trainer, when I was new in the industry, I just thought everybody wanted to lose weight and look good, But it doesn't last, right? It doesn't last. The looks don't last. Your body changes. Attitudes, minds change. Spirits change. But why do you want to be healthy and active? you know. And so I started looking at the context of people's lifestyles and looking at where are they going to end up 20 or 30 years from now. How do you want to show up? You know, when my kids are having kids, what kind of grandpa do I want to be? You know, I want to be the most active grandpa I can, but I still want to be a good
I got
provider.
that title right now, so.
Yeah, I know you do, man. I've seen the photos. Dude, you own it. But it's important. And when you start talking to people in those longer terms, and you start to really help them develop that plan and put the steps in, the action steps in play now, so they can get closer and closer to that outcome, it gives them a lifestyle decision versus just a fitness decision, or just a, hey, I got to lose 5 pounds because I'm going away to Mexico in 3 weeks. I want to look good in my bikini. Because we all know what happens. They go, they get a great tan, they come back. What do? Well,
They gain 10.
hey, I didn't say it, but yeah, I was thinking. So, you know, it's how do you work with people and help them make some lifestyle changes versus just some fitness changes or some health changes. And I look at everything from a whole life perspective.
That's great. And you know, we've talked about that, and Greg and I have talked about it, and you know, that's the whole thing. You got to change people's purpose. That I want to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds for a wedding or the cruise or whatever. It doesn't last.
Yeah.
And like you said, you got to change their lifestyle and their outlook on fitness. So.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you got to find something that's fun for you to do. Because if you don't enjoy it, it's, you know, it eventually becomes a chore or just another job. And, hey, man, if we all had our choice, if we just had $1 million in our bank accounts as of now, we wake up and do the same thing we're doing tomorrow is what we're doing today, right? Like, you got to ask yourselves that. Like, if you had that, money was out of the equation. It just didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
What would you be doing right now? You know, how would you be leading your life? Would you still be going to the gym and exercising the way you are now? Like, you have to understand, if it's something that you could see yourself doing day in, day out, no matter what, well, then that's a good thing to be doing. You know, like it's take the money out of the equation. I mean, money's important. I understand that. I get it. We live in an economy that we have to make money to survive. But it shouldn't be the sole factor for why we do the things that we do. Because if it is, we all know what happens. We get burnout. We look for things outside of us to satisfy that craving. And there's a lot of people in that state right now, right? And I got so many people reach out to me. I think more people are impressed with the idea that I left my career of 18 years. My wife just left her career. And we're going all in on this new venture. And people are like, are you crazy? Are you guys nuts? Like, what are you doing? You know, so many people are like, well, how are you going to support your family? Like, da, 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 da. I'm like, you know what, man? Whatever. I'm 39. I get another job. You know, like, I'm going for this, man, because this is what's drawing me. It's drawing my wife. It's drawing our family. So we're going for it.
That's right. Awesome. It's all about being happy and doing what you want to do and living the life you want to live. So, what if somebody picks up the book, what can they expect to get out of it? You know, I think it's part of a program, and obviously it's a whole life program. It's not just a fitness program. But what can they expect when they pick up the book?
Well, okay, so I've been blogging for a lot of years now, and I've been connecting with so many different communities online as well as offline, and the conversations I have every year are the same.
Looks like your family's having an awesome time in the background, but you're sitting here working.
Oh yeah,
they're having a great time.
They're cooking dinner right now for the kids. And, so they got the kitchen. We live in a condo in Vancouver, and so it's tight space. So you know what? I'm in my little cubby hole, and the door's closed, so they know that okay, Dad's in there doing something. So, but you know, with the book, it's really a narrative. So there's a lot of personal anecdotes of my history in the industry, things that I've seen, personal things I've experienced. But also provides a lot of science in the background and talks about excuses and finding purpose and passion in your life. Because, again, it's a full lifestyle program. I look at the body, the mind, and the spirit. And when I say spirit, I'm just talking the human spirit here, you know, that thing that drives us to do the things that we do with passion and vigor and excitement, right? Like, what is it beyond yourself that you're plugged into that's just driving you? And that's what I mean when I say even faith or spirituality. Like, there's that underlying force that you can't necessarily hold in your hand. You know, it's not necessarily tangible, but it drives you. And if you don't have that ignited in you, how do you ignite it? So I touch down on some of that stuff. I provide people with great prompts and resources. And then at the end of it, there's also a program. And the beautiful thing is I run the program in 28-day cycles. It's got a baseline fitness test at the beginning, really simple to do, but there's a more robust baseline fitness testing for those that really want to dive into it. So I give them 2 options, and then they choose that track, and everything's planned out for them. And I even give them the exercises, how to do them, how to understand intensity, and then they get a program, and they do it for 28-day cycles, and at the end of 28 days, they reset, they recalibrate, they reboot, and then they do it again, because it's not a start and an end. Right. It's ongoing, right? Like it's a whole life program. It's not meant to be one and done, you know? Like it's not, hey, let's hit a goal weight and then be done. No, that's not. I don't even talk about weight, you know? I talk about weight maintenance. I talk about feeling good and being able to lead the life that you want, and the kind of activities that you get enjoyment from. I want to help you reinforce your body so you can continue to do those for a long time. And so there's all this stuff, right? Mindfulness, and then personal development. That's part of the Power 30 program, which is 15 minutes of movement, 5 minutes of mindfulness, 10 minutes of personal development. You do it every day. That's your 2% of your 24 hours, and you invest that in you before you do anything else. And it's amazing just to see the results. The testimonials alone are just phenomenal, and the before and after photos. I mean, I got so much collateral. It's hilarious because I had 1,000 people do the program since February. And everyone's gotten results. It's been amazing, you know. And so that's what excites me, and that's why I'm excited to finally get the book out there. You know, as of January, it's out there. People can pre-order them now through Indiegogo, and it's exciting. It's this process. I see it happening, and I think that's the thing that gets me really juiced right now. It's just, man, finally, it's like go time. You know? So.
I'm ready. I can't wait till it comes out. I'm gonna pick up a copy.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Tom.
Now, obviously you're a CrossFit coach and you do some other exercises, but I think in your book it's almost all body weight exercises. Is there a reason to just choose that for simplicity, or do you really prefer the body weight over the normal exercises?
Yeah, sorry, you guys got to start yelling squirrel, okay? And when I say that, you guys have kids. You've probably seen the movie Up. You remember that little dog, squirrel? Right? Yeah. It gets distracted. Well, that happens to me all the time, right? And I went off a tangent there, but I started to tell you about my readers and the people I've connected with online. I do a survey every year, and I ask of my readers and those that I'm connected with online to fill it out. And out of all the responses I get back, I always ask a question: what has been the biggest obstacles for you that prevents you from maintaining a healthy, active lifestyle? And I usually give them, multiple choice, right? They pick all that apply kind of thing, or the top 3 that apply. And inevitably, it always comes back to, I don't have enough time, I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to do it. Those are the 3 biggest excuses that people have for why they can't maintain a healthy, active lifestyle. So I always seek out to basically annihilate those excuses. I want to eliminate them from everyone's repertoire, because that's all they are. They are excuses, you know. Mm-hmm. So my reasoning for why I went with all body weight based movements is you are never without equipment. Okay, mm-hmm. Even when you die, you're still gonna have your body. So I just want to prevent that from happening for a long time. But it's gonna happen. It's okay. It's all right. We don't need to talk about it now, but it happens.
Yeah.
And but I want your body to be your piece of equipment. And I also teach people how to do a workout in their living room, or at the gym, or at the park, or in a hotel room. Doesn't matter where you're at, you could do the workout. It's 15 minutes, but it's 15 minutes of movement with purpose. So I teach people intensity, and they're all AMRAP style. So it's as many rounds as possible that you can complete in 15 minutes. So you're moving for 15 minutes straight. And that constant movement is great because it gets your cardiovascular system into it. It gets your strength and conditioning system into it. We work on balance and coordination, and so we look at all the different aspects that make up who we are. To lead a healthy, active lifestyle, you need to have strengths in every area. So it's a really well-rounded program. But that is the reasoning why I went with that model. And also, I've learned that through CrossFit, I can get a killer workout in 10 minutes. But what I complete in 10 minutes versus what the new guy completes in 10 minutes is completely different. I'll do 2.5 times the load, right? And 2.5 times more reps than they do in the same amount of period of time. But does that mean my workout was better than what he did? No, because it's relative, right?
Right.
He was working hard too for 10 minutes.
Right. And for somebody who's in not as good a shape, he may have even benefited more in that workout time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, but regardless, you're still completing a set amount of work, but it's relative to you. And as long as you're constantly moving, that's why I try to encourage you. Even like we just did burpee day on Sunday, where it's literally 15 minutes you can do burpees, and see how many you can do.
Yeah.
You know, and they're in week 8 of a 9-week cycle, and they're all every Sunday they know burpees is going to be on the menu. You know, it's the burpee Sunday, and but I tell people, we scale it. I teach people how to do reverse burpees if they got any shoulder or wrist problems, right? But then also if you're doing regular burpees, you can do a walking burpee. Just walk it down, walk it up. I mean, the day you can't get up off the floor unassisted, man, your life is going to suck, okay?
That's right.
I'm sorry. For those that are out there, if you're in that position right now, get help, okay? Because I want you to rehab your body and get out of that position, And if you can't, no problem. There's other things you can do. But for most people, they choose a path where they don't train their body. And they're going to end up there, and that's a personal choice based on inaction. And that drives me nuts, You've been given a great life, so make the most of it. Every day should be better than yesterday. And if you can't lead a life like that, man, we got to have a talk.
You got a book for him, right?
Well, you get it in a book, but man, just tweet me. Like I'll get on the horn with you because we're going to have a real stern talking.
You talk about just tweeting you or getting a hold of you. I gotta say you're one of the most available people I know. I mean, and I look at your website. You are everywhere, but yet you still take the time to talk to anybody you can.
Hey man, we got a message, right? And we're sharing it. And if people reach out, and this is my biggest, it's my way of giving back, okay? Because in my life I've had to seek help from others many times. I've had mentors, I've had coaches. I've had people I've looked up to, people that have asked for help. And I know how difficult it can be, especially for us as men, right? Like, we want to be strong, fatherly figures, strong men. I mean, hey, the stereotype of not asking for directions, thank goodness smartphones and Google came along, right? Because, I mean, it's, men, we never find our way around.
I'll be right with you.
But, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain stereotypes and cliches that have been established based on just state of affairs, in North America especially, and I've asked for help in my life, and I know how difficult it was for me as a guy to extend my hand and ask for help, because you're always worried what happens if someone doesn't take it on the other end, because you're vulnerable, right? You're admitting that you need something, and it's something that you can't do on your own, and as soon as you open up to that, there's some vulnerability. Right? That we have that concern, that feel. It's like the whole reason why we might not ask. Well, we all have been married, we've had kids, so at some point or another, we had the cojones to ask somebody out, So, but it takes a certain amount to do that. And so when someone reaches out to me to connect with me, I recognize that it's a big deal. And I do my best to always get back to people. And unfortunately, sometimes people slip through the cracks and I miss something. I'm only human. But if I catch myself or someone follows up with me and says, hey, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I missed you. But I will reply, and that's me. I don't have an assistant. It's just me, It's all good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I want to take real quick, I see we have a couple of viewers coming in and out. Feel free to pop a question, and Dai will certainly answer on air here. Another thing, Greg and I I want to go back to, you're talking about people have the excuse, I don't have time, I'm too busy.
Yeah.
Like I said, looking at what you do, I know you're busy. Run us through a day in your work life, and how do you keep fitness involved in there?
Sure. Well, I look at my schedule, and I can only control as much as what I block out. And so I do love to practice the art of blocking out my schedule you'll hear a lot of productivity coaches talk about, the big rocks, right? Like if you're going to fill a vase with rocks, well, you put the biggest ones in first and you put the smaller ones in. You can only fit so much, but it helps you maximize how much you fit in that vase or vase, depending where you guys are. It's vase, vase, tomato, whatever.
Vase for me.
Vase for you, okay. Great. So I don't know what they say in Florida, but regardless, it's
Vase.
I know what is that?
Vase. No, I'm just joking.
Vase. So
one of those guys.
But I recognize that we only have so much time in a day, and I know that very well. And I know I've got to plan time for my family. I've got to plan time for my career, or however I'm deriving income. I call it, you got your finances, your family. I've got faith and fitness. Those are sort of 4 pillars of my life, where I always use the analogy of a house. So those are my 4 walls comprising my house. So I try to make sure I try to touch down on each of those every day. And fitness, my health, is a foundational piece. And my family knows how important it is for me to get something physical in every day. Whether it's just going for a walk for an hour, or going to the CrossFit box, or going to the gym, or just doing a workout in my living room, they just know I've got to move my body with purpose every single day, or I become a stress case. Okay, so and they know that, and they're okay with that. And so I will always block those in on my calendar. I block in minimally 30 minutes for me, and then some days like today, I got up this morning. I get up usually at 5 a.m. every morning. This morning I got up at 4 just because I went to bed an hour early last night. My internal clock just wakes up. It just wakes up. It doesn't let me sleep more. So I got 7 hours last night, and boom, I was awake at 4, ready to go. Nice. And so I checked emails, and I followed up on a bunch of stuff, got on my computer, had coffee, and then I went to the CrossFit gym at 6. I got a workout in from 6 to 7. Came home and, connected with my family. They were just rolling out of bed by the time I got home, so it was perfect. A little bit of breakfast, a little bit of stuff. I had a couple phone calls, wrote a blog post. Then I went out, had another appointment, had a dentist appointment. Came back this afternoon, a couple other appointments, hung with the kids for a bit. And then, hey, look, we're chatting right now.
Here we are.
So that was today, but everything was blocked in. I didn't do anything that wasn't already blocked on my calendar. And I think this is what I try to tell everybody. And it's what I try to coach them. I talk about time management as much as it's a misnomer, because time management, it says that it's something like tangible. Just saying that you can manage time is erroneous. I just don't feel that we can, because it's an intangible. But we can block our calendars. We can commit to our calendars. And we can commit blocks of time to certain things that we want to accomplish. So if your health is very important to you, well, make sure you block it in. If your family is important to you, make sure you block it in. But then that that time's now taken. You can't get more of it, right? And so you have to use it wisely. And really, once you start using these types of filters with what's most important to you, or like the analogy of the big rocks in the vase, you start to make different decisions. You look at, hey, it's UFC fight night, and I've been invited by my buds to go to the pub. It's going to turn into a 3-4 hour night. Well, if I really want to go there for 3 or 4 hours, I have some other things I really like to do. I'd like to hang out with my kids that night, maybe I'll compromise. Maybe I'll go to UFC for an hour, and I'm going to come home. And I let my friends know, I'm going to come for an hour, but that's all. I'm not staying the whole night, So you start to look at what's most important and commit to those things first.
Great. I completely agree. And I like how you say it. I always have said you got to make time for fitness. And if you don't, you're not going to do it. You keep putting it off to the end of the day, and then it never gets done. Yeah. But I like you talking about the whole life, where you got the work, the family, the fitness, and the religion, the spiritual part of it.
Yeah.
I think too many of us don't add those other parts into it.
Yeah, well, it's really easy to get focused on one aspect, right? And that's why I like to use the house analogy. Well, build a home for yourself. And my foundation is health, because we all know when you don't have it, it's all you can think about. I remember going to work some days and guys would be sick, and all they could talk about was how sick they were. I'm like, dude, I don't want to talk about how sick you are. I get it. Go home. But it's funny, when people are sick, they want to tell you they're sick. It's like the biggest conversation. It's like, I don't feel well. Okay, well, great. Do something about it. If you can't do something about it, well, go home and get well. But it encompasses everything when we are in that state of unhealth. So it's a foundational piece upon which we can build our lives, any life that we want. But finance is important. I recognize that. Family, very important. Faith, yeah, we talked about it earlier. That spirituality, that something beyond yourself, that passion, that purpose, something that drives you. And then on top of that, you got fitness. So, you got these 4 walls, and you got to reinforce these walls constantly. If you were just focused on fitness, family might suffer, your finances, your career might suffer. We have to maintain the home. And I have an overarching roof, and that roof is fun, right? So it's another F. I love alliterations, okay? And it's the writer in me, so I like all these F's. The 5 F's I call them, and but that's my home, and I talk about this in the book quite extensively, and I try to help people. Like, just because those are my walls doesn't mean they're the best fit for you. Mm-hmm. We all live very different lives. We have different visions for what we want and different aspirations, so no problem. But I found this is what works for me, so I shared that. But someone else could take that analogy and just retool it for them. You know, you want to live in a condo, penthouse, go for it. What's that going to look like? You know, build it. You know, and then go out and constantly reinforce it, so you can weather the storms that house is going to be in. Because hey, man, that's life. Okay, we have storms. We have unexpected earthquakes. Got to deal with it. You know, I'm on the West Coast. It happens. All right, Florida. Well, man, you got storms. You guys got a lot of that. So you know, but you gotta recognize that that's going to happen, and that's okay. But if you are focused and made the best home that you possibly could for yourself, you're going to end up a lot better.
Hey, you got to keep it balanced. Obviously, if you're not balanced, it's unbalanced. Yeah. Which never is good for too long.
Not for too long. Yeah.
So what's up, Greg? You have anything? Any questions for Dai?
Yeah, I was just turning off my mic because I didn't know if my mic was on.
Yeah.
No, I think it's pretty awesome what you're doing. You know, one of the things is that I see people. I see the. You know, I'm a physical therapist, and I have two clinics, and I see people kind of at the tail end that have kind of fallen off the deep end and haven't taken care of themselves, you know, fitness-wise, and it's led to other things and other health issues. So by the time they're coming to me, you know, the knee is shot or the back is shot, they can't, you know, stand up or sit and whatnot, and usually that. You know, creates a wake-up call for you know, for many. And the biggest thing that I hear, like I work at my offices now only 2 days a week, but I usually see 15 to 20 consults every week. And the biggest thing I hear when it comes to fitness is, oh, you know, I don't have the time. 2 hours a day. I'm like, no. And you know what? and it's funny because as you're explaining, you know, what you're doing and kind of the premise of your book, and you basically nailed it down to 30 minutes a day, and not even 30 minutes of fitness a day, 30 minutes of you're encompassing everything, your personal development, you know, training your mind, taking care of your body, moving with purpose, you know, and doing those things. And there's just this misconception with people, and again, I know it's excuse. But there's this misconception that that it's all this time, and really that's all you really need to get started. It's just, you know, less than 2% of your day. You know.
That's right. So you're right. You're bang on, Greg. And it's funny because you're seeing people when they've reached, wow, you know, it's that climax, right? Like they've hit that point where it's, man, I either do something now or I just accept the fact that I'm gonna feel like crap day in, day out. Right?
You want to know something though? I'll tell you this. I think this is why I have a different perspective of some of these things, is because when you come into my office, you've already hit rock bottom, right? Now pain has overcome you, just like what you said, your buddies or, you know, just guys at work or whatever, you know, and they're sick or whatever. That's all they talk about. It consumes them. Yeah. So the cool thing about, like, when people come into my offices is that they've already made that decision that they want to not feel sick anymore, right?
Yeah, that's great.
And so I, you know, I can sit down tomorrow. You know, I'm only going to be at the office for 5 hours because I have to go speak at a conference. But I'll have 7 consults, okay, tomorrow, and everybody has already made the decision that, okay, I'm gonna do therapy. I'm gonna do physical therapy for X amount of times per week for the next 6 to 8 weeks. The interesting thing is that they can commit to that, and now, like, they can show their commitment, and I'm like, hey guys, you're committed to this now. You just showed that you could do this 3 times a week for 6 or 8 weeks. Why don't we just, okay, you're fine now. Why don't we just turn this into, you know, taking care of yourself, like maintaining it. And so people have it, just like what you said, Dai. it's excuses, and it's just a matter of, if their why is strong enough, if they can see maybe not just the weight, but long term, how do I want to function? Do I want to be Dai 1.0 or do I want to be Dai 2.0? And the same thing for Tom and myself, and once you can kind of tap into that, then that's fantastic. So I think you're doing a good thing with your book. I think you'll do well. Just market it like a beast, and you'll be all right.
Well, thank you.
I think Dai probably has more energy than both of us put together, so I think that's not going to be a problem for him.
Well, it's been pretty cool. You know what? The biggest thing is just the tribe, as I call it. We've got a great community of people that have already embraced this lifestyle, and they're reaping the benefits of it. And I call it a gateway program because inevitably people signed up, got committed because they're like, okay, I can do 30 minutes a day. I can do that. I can commit to that. I can do 30 minutes every day. Yes, I will do that. And they have to go through an application process to participate in the program. So they got to share a why, like something beyond just the number. It's not just I want to lose 10 pounds or I want to lose a dress size. It's I want them to think about something beyond that, right? And
bigger.
And they articulate that really well. And they go through it's a double opt-in process, right? Like I don't just accept anybody. Like they got to be ready for this. And once they've made that commitment, it's really cool to see what happens, And Greg, you just alluded to that with your patients, You see that they've gotten to that point where it's like, I can't deal with the pain anymore. I need to do something about this. And so many people live in a state of unhealth because they live there for so long. And like when I was obese, I didn't really know. I knew I was overweight. No, I didn't feel good. I know I had lots of aches and pains, and I alienated myself, and I wasn't all there, right? And that was based on my own decisions. But I got used to feeling that way because I was like that for such a long period of time. And people that are in that state of unhealth, if they don't remember what it feels like to wake up in the morning, not have those aches and pains, not to be out of breath when they carry the groceries up one flight of stairs, just those little things in life, they just don't remember. And if you don't remember how good it feels to feel hot or warm versus cold, you just can't compare. So you don't know what you're missing, and they accept that most of the time. Except for you, but Greg though, you're seeing them one step beyond that because they're living in pain. And I see people that live in chronic pain for years before they finally act. I know every time I bump into them, they're bitching about something. Oh, my back, this, my back, that. Well, why don't you go get an MRI, go see a specialist, figure it out? Oh, well, and even here in Canada, as we joke, it's like it's free. Well, it's not free, but you got to wait a long time to get in. But still, get your foot in the door and at least get on the waiting list, and I'll see people, and they'll wait and wait and wait. I'm like, you know what, man? You got to own that then. Just accept it. Yes. Celebrate that you have back pain. Just own it because you are telling me indirectly that you do. You're okay with it because you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah, you haven't fixed it. Yeah. And I always look at overweight people, and I wish that, if it's 50 pounds or 100 pounds, I wish that for a day I could take that weight off of them and show them what it's like to walk around without it. And the next day have to put it back on to see if they change their lifestyle at that point. Because like you said, they've been doing it for so long, they don't realize what they're missing out on. And they don't realize the burden that their unhealth is causing them.
Yeah, and that's why I love weighted vests. You just put those on people. And you just say, listen, I want you to walk around with this 40-pound vest. I just want you to walk 400 meters. We're going to do a lap around the track with this thing on. And then they walk and like, man, that was really, really hard. I'm like, yeah, well, we'll take it off now. Now how good does it feel? Oh, it feels great. Well, you realize you're 60 pounds overweight right now. Can you imagine how good you're going to feel when you lose half of that? And it just puts things into context. It's crazy. It's really neat. Here in Vancouver, we've got a lot of soccer, obviously. It's just in Canada, they play a lot of soccer like we play a lot of hockey. It just seems to be one of those sports that does well here. And there's a coach here that will do it after he does a very high level women's soccer, and what he'll do is he'll get them back their first practice postseason, right? So they've had their season, they've done great, now they're off for 3 months. And then they come back for that very first practice, and what he does is he does a weigh-in at the end of the season, You know, it looks at body comp and looks at weight and all that. And then he does one again when they come back after 3 months of being off. And then he measures them again. He says, okay, well, this is what you gained. Here's the differential. And he'll make them run that first practice in a weighting vest with that weight. And he's like, there you go. That's what that's what you've done, you know, like, and that's what you have to lose. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's really smart, and I took what he was already doing. I was like, oh, this works even better for people that are in a state of obesity or overweight or unhealth. It's like you gotta shock the system, make them realize what it feels like, you know, because it's such a gradual change, you know, like we just don't know. Yeah.
We have a fitness center nearby here, and I follow them on Facebook, and I have never been there, but they have great success. You know, 25 pounds, 50 pounds.
Nice.
And what they do when they reach, you know, the 25-pound mark, they put a 25-pound weight vest on that person and make them go through a workout with that extra 25 pounds on, so that they know, so, you know, I never want to go back there again.
Yeah, that's, you know, I love that. That's fantastic. And I mean, I think that's something that all trainers should do with the people that they train, especially if the main goal initially is just to lose some weight so they can feel a bit better, release some of the strain on their joints and their back, and just everything, right? Like just help them function better. That's great. That's really cool. I'm gonna have to get you to share with me that the Facebook page for.
I will do it.
Certainly.
It's like a local fitness club here, and
awesome.
I've never been there. I have a lot of friends that go there, but you know, it's something else.
What a great idea.
And I was reading about on your website about your book. You're talking about a community now. Do you have a, you know, if people buy the book and start the program, do you have a community they join and they have, you know, resources they can get with other people?
Yeah, so I mean, since I started blogging back in this 2007, beginning 2008, I've just been giving away everything, right? Like I just give away information because I'm all about just educate. Hopefully, share some of my own personal stories, and I show things through Facebook and my other social media. You know, I believe in showing rather than telling people what to do. Hey, just watch me, and maybe some of that will rub off, and it'll inspire you to go and do something. And what I've done though is, when I launched this program back in February, and you know, people went through the application process, I needed a hub to connect everybody into. So I used a private Facebook group, and it's been great. It's fantastic. But the problem with Facebook groups is, and I'm sure you're both part of them right now.
Mm-hmm.
You check out for 3 or 4 days, and then you come back to that group. And if it's a really busy and very engaged group, man, it's like you're in a whole new place now because everything changes. All the dialogues, the conversations that you've missed out on, it's really hard to keep on top of things and to really make connections with people. So my biggest thing was I really wanted to create a separate hub where those that are participating in this program could connect with one another, have their own individual profiles, keep track of workouts, share resources, and really create more of a forum, if you will, for them to participate in. So that's what we'll be launching in January along with the book. The site's in development right now, and it's looking good. It's going to be great, but it will be there to support those that are engaged in this Whole Life Fitness Manifesto. And so it's good. And we'll keep the private group going on Facebook too, so those that want to stay on that medium can, but you won't have access to all the extra resources because I can't share it in that platform. It just doesn't work. It's too limiting. So that was why there needed to be a companion website, especially with all the videos that I've created to give people that additional level of instruction, plus the webinars and the podcasts. And there's going to be so many extra resources thrown at this in the new year that it just really gets me excited because I'm like, you know, the book's fantastic. People just bought the book. They could follow front to back and do everything. But you want the community because that's what's going to create a lifelong change.
Most people certainly need a community.
But they do, and it's what I've learned. You know, like with my last 5 years running those free Sunday morning classes, I'll tell you, it's the one thing that keeps people accountable the best out of everything I've ever seen. Is that power of a community of people that are going through the same thing, that you develop these relationships with, that you share, and you console one another. Like that is one of my most satisfying things is when I do have to check out of the Facebook group for 2 or 3 days because I'm at a conference speaking or whatever, and then I check back in, and I go back through the threads, and I look at some of the comments and some of the things people are sharing, and I see other members, you know, of the tribe. Like, hey, don't worry about that. It's all good. Draw the line in the sand. Step over it tomorrow because tomorrow you got this. You know, I'm here for you. Let me know if I can help. Like, and you see this camaraderie happen.
It's so helpful, yeah.
It is huge. It's huge. It's what's created these. Well, one, it's lessened the attrition rate because we all know how programs work. A lot of the time, people get committed, they start, and then they quit. Why? And there's lots of different reasons why. But I'm not going to dive into all that right now. But, when they've created these relationships and they've started to share some of their struggles and obstacles that they were encounter with other people, and they start to dialogue about that, and other people start to relate to that and empathize with that, it's amazing what happens. Those obstacles shrink.
Yeah,
the roadblocks disappear. And all of a sudden, what used to be a big reason why you can't is now a reason why you can. And that is one of the most amazing things. And that's why the online website will be such a significant piece for those that are undertaking this new process or this new program or new philosophy or lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, it's like-minded people getting together and committing 30 minutes to themselves. And I am excited about that part, yeah.
And I think people will find, too, that, hey, I've done 30 minutes. I want to do 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So, so now, when people buy the book, do they have access to that group? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I think there's a special thing on the book cover, actually. It's on the inside of the cover, and it tells you, if you bought this book, send a photo of yourself with the book to a certain email address or share it on social, and then we'll connect with them and give them free access for 90 days.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So right now, So sorry, go ahead.
Anything else with the book?
Well, I was going to say on Indiegogo right now, for people that are pre-buying copies before they release it in January, there's lots of great perks that we've put together. And some of these include lifetime membership, some of them include founding member status inside the forum in the community, as well as multiple copy options, signed copies. There's so many cool little perks that we've created. And also I do a lot of consulting as well as brand work with other brands and campaign work. So even if there's people that are looking more into mentorship as far as business development and brand creation and all that, I've even thrown some of those perks in there as added incentive to really fully fund this and so I can take it to that next level. Because a lot of this goes into the website development as well as additional book copies. And yeah, I'm all in on this, my wife and I, and I'm very open and transparent on this. And I think I shared this with you the other day, Tom. That my wife and I, we had an option. We've been saving, and we had a down payment ready for a house. And in Vancouver, that's a lot of money because it's not cheap to live here.
Luckily, the healthcare is free.
Yeah, no kidding. But what we did was we took that money and we invested in our dream. And our dream is bringing this message along with our family message of engaging communities everywhere, and that we've financed this ourselves. We do have a publisher, which is fantastic. Lifetree Media is local in Vancouver, and they have relationships with all the distributors. So we will be in Barnes & Noble in the U.S., we'll be in Indigo in Canada, we'll be on Amazon, but we wanted to retain full ownership. And intellectual properties, we wanted to retain all that. I wanted the flexibility that the only way I could have that was I had to own it. And so we're all in on this. This is it, man. This is how much I believe in this. And my wife believes in it, our kids believe in it, and we're all in. So we're inviting people to join us on this journey and of spreading a message to help a lot of people. And we're excited about that.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great mission. It's a great purpose, and I'm sure you're going to do absolutely wonderful with it.
Well, thanks.
I'm buying into it.
Well, thanks, Tom. Because I'll tell you, or Tom and Greg, when I get down to Florida especially, I'd love to connect because our plan is to do our own book tour, and that's connecting with local communities. And if you are listening to this or watching this video and you feel that we can come and help your community and need some functional fitness workouts and some Whole Life Manifesto talks, we'd love to hear from you because that's what we want to do. We want to spread this message, and we're going to go on the road and do it. So and we'll be documenting it all. Like YouTube will be our friend, and so it'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
There are many ways to skin the cat, and you have found one solid way to skin the cat. But what I think makes what I'm impressed with is the passion. That story that you just gave about the house and you guys deciding to do this instead, you just sold me on that. That's I'm in.
Well, thanks.
Send me my books. Tell me where no, because something is interesting today, and then I won't take away too much time, but today I was mentoring 3 new physical therapists,
Wow.
And they're like, well, like, how do I know, you know, like, how did you know when to do what you did, you know, with regards to opening up your practices? I was like, no. I was like, look, it's either you have passion or you don't, okay? When, right, it's not money driven, all that stuff will just come, okay? It'll just happen, but we buy into people. That's what we buy into. We buy into people and we buy into their mission. Is it real? Is it authentic? Is it genuine? You know, I'm liking what I'm hearing. So that's it. so far, I'm liking what I'm hearing.
Well, I appreciate
Oh,
that.
it's good. It's good. It's good.
Greg, you know, like it's scary though, and I'm pretty honest about this too. Like it's probably one of the scariest things. I know I've done lots of scary stuff in my life, but this is definitely why this is so significant and really jumping out at me is because now it's you know how life was before kids, right? Like before kids, it was like just you. All I had to worry about was me.
I remember.
That's so long. But you remember back to those days, like before we had kids, and it was different because, and I was about to say it was easier, and I don't know if it was easier, but it was definitely easier to live with my choices because it only had one person to deal with, and that was me. But then, you know, I got married, met my wife, and then it became something that, and it was really, we struggled with that in the first few years because I had a big issue with having to consult someone to make a decision. You know, like I was used to making my own decisions. Like I make my own money, I'll buy what I want. You know, like give me a break. And but I realized that that's just not what a relationship's about. You know, and then when we had kids, so now you know we've got an established family. Like we're together as a unit, and then to go and say, okay, well we're going to take our savings, we're going to do this. What do you think, guys? And the kids were like, okay, let's do it. You mean we don't have to go to school? You know, that was their thing because we're taking them out of school. We're going to road school them while we're doing the tour. So we're going to take it upon ourselves to educate them as well. And so and to them, that was the biggest bonus. Like, oh, well, cool, sign us up. But they don't really understand the gravity of this, right? It's like, okay, I like this. I want to see it through their eyes, you know?
Right.
So that's what's been. So you say I'm passionate, I'm positive. I am. But I'm trying to see it from their perspective. Because at the end of the day, you know what? Money's money, and you can make it again. You know what I mean? Like I know I'm very employable, so I can find a job. It's okay, and it's okay.
Welcome to the life of being an entrepreneur. Okay?
Yes,
and that is just the way that it is. And you know something? The interesting thing is that you know why you're going to succeed. Because you got kids.
This is true.
It's funny. I remember, 10, 11 years ago when I opened up, when we went from 1 to 2 clinics.
Oh, wow.
I remember that things never, you know, it's like when you go on your tour, you think it's going to, certain things don't work out the way they work out. Oh, crap, you know. Okay, and so I remember things weren't working out, but you don't really have an option. You got to make it work. You'll figure it out. You know, especially if it's just you, it's easy to throw in the towel. Okay.
Right.
But when you have you got your tribe, but you also have your tribe. Okay.
Yes.
So you're not throwing any towel. You're gonna go until it's a success. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
I like that. No, you know, you're right. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, awesome. So.
Well, I was going to say, the URL, though, if you guys are wondering, it's youareawesome.ca, and that actually takes people to the Indiegogo page. So it's just youareawesome.ca, and make it nice and simple, because those Indiegogo, even the Whole Life Fitness Manifesto.com, that's a lot to type out. So youareawesome.ca, it'll get you there, because I do feel that everybody is awesome. So, boom.
I was sitting here typing, I am awesome, and it won't come up. He kept telling me.
I tried to get that one. It was already taken.
So, all right, and I know you said you got a couple commitments left tonight. So again, you let us know where you're available at DaiManuel.com also.
Yeah, my main website, or the nice thing of having a very unique name is I'm very Googleable. Googleable. Yeah, just Google me. Like it's seriously, it's like pages and pages because my name is just so unique and no one else has it. So, you know, when my parents gave me the name, I had no idea. that I would actually learn to love it eventually, and because it's a very weird name, right? Like Dai's a
It was
Welsh
before the
name.
internet and everything, so you didn't know that you'd have
Oh,
that.
dude, I had no
working for
idea
you.
what was going on. Well, even when I lost all that weight as a kid, and I talk about this, I'm like, and people are like, well, what'd you do? And I was like, well, I had to learn, and I had to go to the library. Like I went and got books out, and they're like, wow, you were committed. And it was all pre-Google. So, but anyways, yeah, just you can search me out, and if you go to my website, all my contact details are there as well. But anybody has any questions or anything, just reach out anytime, and I'm here to help. And same for you guys. Like Tom and Greg, like anything I can do to help you guys, man, I love what you got going on. This is awesome. And if there's ways that I can help out, please just ask. That's all. We're all part of the same cloth, trying to accomplish the same mission, and we need more of us aligning. So thank you for the opportunity tonight.
Certainly, and like I said, we try to come on every Tuesday night, so if you ever want to come back, don't be afraid.
Yeah. Sweet.
This thing holds up to 10 people, so we can do 10 people at a time.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so thanks a lot, Dai, for your time. Certainly your book is going to work out, no, not a problem. It'd be awesome if someday we could all hook up in sunny Florida. And,
yes.
I don't want to say New York because I don't want to come to New York. I'm not saying anything bad about Canada, but it's the same weather we have here. I don't want it. So I say we just meet in Florida, and Greg, you don't have to travel too far.
That works for me. I could convince the kids to go to Florida. So
15 minutes. We'll do a book signing over there.
Yeah, all right. Well, that'd be great. Well, guys, thanks a lot for everything. I really appreciate it. And,
Thank
Greg,
you.
Greg, it was nice finally meeting you. And Tom, thanks for lining all this up.
Yep.
Thanks, Doc.
After this process is through, I'll get the YouTube address to both of you, so you can embed it, share it, whatever you want to do with it.
I'll share it on my blog, tonight.
Sounds
me too. So thanks, guys.
Okay, take it
Good
easy,
night, guys. Good talking with you.
All right, Tom. See you.
Good night.
Bye, guys.